Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Flintlocks and Fireballs, where a handful of mad actors will attempt to survive the treacherous waters of Dungeons and Dragons. I am your host and Dungeon Master, Jason Phelps, and I am joined as ever by Robbie, Tomato Bellekom, Sam, Potato Burns, and Ellie, who the fuck says potato? That's not reasonable. Let's just call the whole thing off. Sparrow.
Really though, no one says potato.
Literally nobody in the history of the world.
The only reason I can think of to say potato is if you are learning English and you have read the word tomato and been taught that one, but not potato. Then that would be a sensible reason. But I thought that would be a sensible assumption. English is not a sensible language, at all.
No.
But that's the only reason I can think of as to why you would say potato.
Yes.
So how does that quotation go? English is 3 languages in a trench coat.
Mugging other languages for grammar. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Speaking of mugging other languages for grammar, it's time for us to
commit a mugging one.
It's time for us to cast our mind through the syntactically complex concept of the present and demand, future us, what messages from the now? It's Future Jason with messages from the present. This episode of Flintlocks and Fireballs is brought to you by you. As ever, a massive thanks to our crew members on the Flintlocks Patreon who help keep this ship sailing. There's a wealth of extra content and bonus features for patrons, including regular blog posts, extra stories narrated by the cast, artwork, and a monthly poll for the community to help design an element to go into the game. You can check it out at patreon.com/flintlocks-and-fireballs, link in the description. And that's it for announcements this time. Back to you, Past Jason. I definitely meant to, through the concept of now and ask for messages from the present, but I'd already used one of the 2 words, and
it worked.
I liked it.
It worked. Don't question it.
This is a strange thing you're kind of trained to do, and I do feel you're trained to do this in English class as a kid, is to avoid repetition of the same word.
Yeah.
Just try and put more variety in, and I do like it, but yeah.
But sometimes the same word feels like the right one.
And sometimes if you get too obsessed over it and just start avoiding the word said, your writing gets real fucking weird.
This is to the point where this actually has a name. It's called the said bookism, where writers trying to avoid using the word said will exclaim, declaim, pronounce,
and even ejaculate.
And indeed,
I love ejaculate.
Vigorously ejaculate.
That's a word for
which you don't need to, because the brain will skip over the word said. It stops being some words, if you repeat them, it becomes noticeable and it's annoying. But the word said vanishes. Readers don't mind it.
Well, it's like the and.
Yeah.
You don't think about those words because they're just there to join other words together.
Yeah.
Literal conjunctives there.
And
yes.
unless you particularly need to emphasize that they are exclaiming something or similar, or even occasionally, sobbing something. The way in which the character says the thing, or explicitly says the thing, is jarring to your brain because most of the time in English, you will write, the moon looks bright tonight, he said, rather than, he said the moon looks bright tonight. So if you've got, the moon looks bright tonight, he exclaimed, and you've read that as a calm, the moon looks bright tonight, as soon as you read, he exclaimed, you've got to jump backwards and go, oh, the moon looks bright tonight!
Yeah, that's... You see,
as an audiobook narrator, I run into this so much, and good gods.
I was about to say I felt that's a very actuary peeve.
Yeah.
But, we got taught, in sight reading, we got taught to literally be, saying the word and, looking slightly ahead while you were saying it so that you could
read
look
ahead while you're talking.
Yeah, just a little bit, so that you wouldn't miss things like you were supposed to be exclaiming.
Other dyslexic people, how do you do that? Genuinely.
The jury's out on me, man.
I'm going to say ADHD is how I do that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not.
I think that's one where they help each other out. The brain's bored of what it's already saying, so it's looking ahead.
That's exactly it. I mean, I'm not a confirmed member of the Lixdexics, but it's the vibes. It's pretty high chance at this point from several bits of evidence. I think I would get bored reading. Like, I agree with that statement. Actually,
I've got to say, as the one member of the Flintlocks crew who's definitely not dyslexic, it still catches me out.
Yeah, you're all one, definitely not.
Yeah. And on that cheerful note, it's time to begin Flintlocks and Fireballs. Our land stands on the sabre's edge.
Our cities are a powder keg.
Brother chains brother, no one's free. A life on land is short, you'll see.
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.
Previously on Flintlocks and Fireballs, we had a 5-minute digression on said bookisms. Sorry. Now, from the
I make no apologies. I'm here to have a good time and be a silly little guy, and we did both during that intro.
100%.
But we also, previously on Flintlocks and Fireballs, we also the party also found themselves in the domain of the Lawbearer, the penultimate wing, it would appear, of the Cirrus Citadel, and the 11th sorcerer that whose domain they have visited. Navigating their way through the bureaucratic obstacles of the city and the state, the party are working towards at least someone getting grade 3 citizenship so that they can get a high enough class passport to leave with all of their magic items. In the process of which, they appear to have uncovered quite possibly some manner of conspiracy. Jury's still out on that one. Relating that seems to be disappearing spirits, and the spirits sighted after last time meeting the defender Low Bay and her bloodhound spirit, who had appeared, had fled into the wilderness as a child, lived amongst the different groups of the lawless, and then returned to try and discover why it is that spirits are vanishing within the city itself. Along the way, the party have met a varied cast of characters, discovered the limits to which they can and can't break the law, without being automatically discovered by the law itself. Discerned that discerned that one of the edicts that empower the magistrates appear to have been stolen, has been stolen or lost at some point in the last 20 years. What else have we got? Oh, detected the presence of undead within the centre of the city.
Yeah, just before we went off air, wasn't it?
Which is where we left last time.
Which we've all been pissing ourselves over all week.
Appropriately enough, as Corzin nipped into a public toilet to discern this.
Yeah.
And having just washed your hands, Corzin, you'll be heading back up to inform the others as you are leaving. As you as a group are in the process of leaving the Rosewood Theatre, having watched Rose of the Wastes, and now have have a late night invitation to the Looking Glass, a apparently high grade restaurant within the city, which you are only being allowed into because literally when I say high grade, I mean that you need a high grade passport to enter. High grade citizenship to enter.
I hate this place.
You are coming at the invitation of Magnus Redfolder, noted patron of the theatre, the sole enchanter in the city, and one of the very few grade 6 citizens.
Oh, you. I'd forgotten about that bit. I hate him even more.
Classism in action.
Oh, this place is terrible. I haven't. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No. I'm going to say at this particular point, Corzin emerges from the City of London-esque underground toilets, but much better kept.
I have an important note that I wrote down. This is an out of character thing from last time. I've got a note that says Scamp wants to pet the dog with a picture of the dog.
Yes.
Oh, I did do that. last time. I did manage it.
Cracking.
Yes.
Hooray.
Sort of.
I'm gonna tick
The
off
dog
that.
came and sat under
like
my
it's
hand.
SG.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, that's addressed. Carry on with the story, by all means.
So, Corzin is going to gather everyone and go, right, so, we've got problems. There's a fairly large amount of undead around here.
You're not really sure how large it is, but you've just got a definite sense of them. Like, there's at least there could be a ton of undead. There could be one really strong undead. The point is, there's undead.
Yeah, there's other can't really pin down numbers, but enough.
I'm going to say that Celestia puts the dots together at the same speed that I did and makes the same assumption. So you see, like, eyes widen. How big a number is quite a lot? Could that be like 200, for example?
Could be, if they're fairly low level.
Right.
What are you thinking?
Well, there should be, from, the 1 million population.
Yeah.
There should be about 200 sighted people, right?
Yeah, that would be about average for 1 million, yeah.
So, if one didn't want spirit-sighted people but did want a bunch of undead, killing the person and forcing the spirit to go in them and be an undead would be a pretty good way to deal with that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would be a very efficient way of... Fuck.
I'm real angry, friends.
Yeah.
I'm going to also make the link that I made immediately after the thing off air and just questioned this in-world, but
you know all them guardy people what can break the law and stuff because they're in charge?
The law doesn't apply to them because they're dead. Fuck.
Yeah, the ones who never talk to each other, so, we thought maybe they were psychic or whatever, but no, maybe they just don't need to because they're not got a brain in there.
How many of those enforcers are there? Are there about 200, perchance?
Well, I didn't get a chance to count.
Here's the thing, 200 for 1 million, but this is not 1 million people and that's it. This is 1 million people currently. This is 800 years of population?
Yeah,
how
is the
long
population
last?
even stable? Could be any
There could be
number by
loads
now.
more.
Yeah.
We don't know if this is what they're doing. We don't know how long it's been going on.
No, we don't.
This is a real problem.
Yep.
The odds of us burning this place to the ground just went really up, didn't they?
I mean, they were really high anyway, I'll be honest, but yeah.
There's like quiet, scary anger with Celestia right now. Like, if you really look, you can probably see like little lightning crackles in the hair, and the rainbow spirit is like a coiled snake, like it's pissed.
The Shanti glances to Victory. Is burning places to the ground a habit? Oh yeah. From everything I've heard. Yeah.
Only when the occasion warrants it.
It's like our calling card.
Hey. listen, I've torched a town before. You know, sometimes you just have to. I grew up on a pirate ship.
Oh shit, of course.
I can literally... What do you think I do?
I don't know.
What do you think I use fireballs for?
Well, just because you've lived on a pirate ship, it doesn't mean you've burned an entire town to the ground, does it?
Well, I didn't do it all myself.
No, I assumed you probably had help. I've never burned a whole town by myself either. That would be really hard.
There's a pause. Both Victory and Shanty and Jeffrey all look at Scamp.
Should we move on?
I was just wondering.
It wasn't okay. Well, what? There was a big flashy light thing. It wasn't just. It was complicated, and should we move on?
I believe we have a fancy dinner to get to.
Oh no! Maybe we should stay, not moving on.
Yeah, I'm really not feeling it, but you know.
Who are we going to dinner with? This was some person you met.
Oh, some twat. What's his name? Red Folder? Was it Red Folder?
The dwarven chap.
Yeah, he's some fucking posh-ass, horrible fucking stupid patron dipshit of the theatre.
Well, it'd probably be more suspicious if we didn't go.
Yes,
oh no, we definitely should go. We should learn everything we can about this place, really, shouldn't we?
He's like a really high-level citizen, I think, and that makes me really pissed. Yeah.
How come? Like, no, I know where you're putting. No, how come so high level? Like, what's the? What's so special? What made him?
I have no idea. I know that. Yeah, he funds a lot of stuff at the theatre, but I don't imagine that makes you high level. I think that's probably because he's high level that he can do that. So I don't know how it happened.
Well, maybe we can ask him.
Maybe.
Shoot.
All right. I mean, I'm guessing that our invitation doesn't extend to our new friend with the dog, and...
Probably not, no. And also that would put her in horrible danger, to be honest.
Good. Just figured I'd check.
Like going to a fancy dinner with the sort of people that run these kind of decisions, like, this terrible idea. We should tell her where we're going, though.
Yeah, and find a place to meet up afterwards.
And also, I might... We should probably update her. Actually,
I will say that for the sake of time, you connect with Lobe and give her a quick update on what you've observed and the conclusions you've drawn.
The assumptions, yeah.
She is deeply disturbed by this, she is. And agrees to essentially loiter around the back of the essentially tower where the looking glass is located. This arrangement set up, you head to the building itself. As mentioned, a lot of the buildings around here are in the very centre of the city. Are a sort of architectural fusion of almost sort of central London and classical Oriental architecture of the sort of East Haldanic variety. This one, the restaurant, rather than being located on ground level, as with most of the restaurants here, it would appear that the looking glass is actually located up near the top of this particular structure. Not on the very top floor, but sort of down but one. And there is a... I'm just thinking about this. Yeah, it's going to have to be stairs. Rather than having someone just pulling on a pulley to get you up there. So you ascend you ascend the stairwell to... Well, actually, first of all, you arrive at the queue outside the building, which There it is short but quickly, seeming longish, but quite quickly processed. It appears that it's mostly filled with the fellow theatregoers who are filtering in, and most people arriving are having papers checked and being turned away. The others, it seems, have reservations or the like and are quickly waved through by the. Interestingly, despite the fact that violence is utterly prohibited, the well-dressed doorman is nevertheless quite a large half-orc, who speaks with a soft voice, but tones that definitely do not brook argument. As you hear him, as you actually see one figure at the front approach the front of the queue that you recognise as being Fulviola Crest, the theatre, manager of the theatre. Darling, I've been invited by Magnus himself. He is a great patron.
Papers, please.
Yes, I know. And they are here.
Do you have a reservation?
I told you, I'm here on Magnus's reservation.
Your papers mark you as grade 4. Without a prior reservation, I can't let you in.
No, the point I'm trying...
Please move aside.
Someone else moves in front.
There's this moment where, just as we're not lit by the restaurant, you see Celestia put the face on. There's this moment of like an angry breath, and then just the acting comes up.
Scamp tries to replicate it and does not do as well.
I rolled. It's really good. It's
I'm going to roll
30,
as it.
So it's believable. There's probably small
I want to
tells
roll
if you don't
badly,
know.
but I am going to try.
Yeah, Shanti, Shanti similarly adroitly masks whatever her true feelings are about this woman. Unfortunately, to this particular the particular moment that Fulviola turns around and notices you, that Victory still has her tongue stuck out. That'd be a natural 1 on the deception check there.
I love her.
Oh dear.
Victory's had no chill for this whole wing, and it's amazing. Just zero chill about anything.
Excuse me, what Oh, darling.
Hello.
Hello. You see, they've now. Please come on. Would you mind? Now, we have all been invited by dear old Magnus, patron of the theatre, to come in.
Well, I mean, I guess you'll have to confirm it, won't you?
The half-orc bouncer kind of looks at you.
Papers, please.
Literally, if he's not here, you're not going to let me in. I'm new. Visitor.
One moment.
He turns and you see there's a little... he opens the door slightly, rings a little bell. Fulviola, you see, tries to slip in, and he, without, injuring her in any way, nevertheless puts one thick arm out and gently pushes her back.
Someone like Magnus has got to have this happen all the time, really.
Oh, yeah.
And about a minute later, you see let's go for a female. You see a blonde half-elf woman descends the stairwell, dressed in a sort of white. It's reminiscent of sort of a classical servant's outfit, but it has a similar sort of long coat style to the type that you see you've seen a lot of people wear, including Magnus. She steps up to the door, looks you over, looks to the the doorman.
There, Magnus give permission.
Sorry, it would be
Mr. Redfolder give permission.
She looks over, inclines her head.
Opens the door. After you.
Thank you. Thanks.
You all step in, and then he puts an arm out and blocks full of yellow. But I just... Excuse me, I just... The half-elf woman turns without acknowledging her and gestures to you all, escorting you as a party up.
Oh, savage.
Was she not supposed to be... Ah, never mind.
Sorry, darling. I guess we'll get drinks another time. Bye.
I could just... The door closes. It just cuts out all of the exterior sound. You see her, mouthing complaints at this... and clearly going off at this half-walk before eventually just... slumping and stumbling and moving away.
Magnus is savage as fuck, apparently.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Wow.
The half-elf woman in question doesn't actually speak to you at all. She just escorts you up the stairs until... and it is, unfortunately, several flights of stairs. As this is the this building is probably the second highest in the city, dwarfed only by the Bureau, which is itself built on a hill,
Right?
overlooking the rest of it.
Shit. That's quite a statement. Like, this restaurant is the second largest building in the city.
You get the feeling that from the other doors on this stairwell and the little nameplates and so on, that most of this appears to be offices of different types. And judging from the names and descriptions, it appears that this is some sort of financial building of one description or another. In fact, Celestia, you do actually notice the one of the small plates and a side thing is Bjorgson and Sons.
Tjork, my love.
Which you realise is probably pronounced Borgson and Sons. Definitely spelt Bjorgson and Sons.
Oh, the real MVP of this adventure, Tjork Borgson.
Financial
The man with
advisors.
the real name. What? The man with the definitely person name.
Yep.
As you get up towards the very top, you find the half-elf steps to one side of a door and turns down and opens it, and you can see that there is actually a stairwell. The stairwell does continue up one more floor, but she doesn't take you up there. She opens the door, and a flood of gentle of music and conversation emerges. It sounds like there are live musicians playing. You can smell the aroma, a rich mixture of aromas. It's honestly very decent smelling food. There's a mixture of flavors, spices. Appears that they must grow spices here as well. And the gentle background sound of mellifluous chatter, because that's the only word my brain can find at the moment.
No, makes sense.
Good word.
Feels right.
Yeah.
So, the looking glass. The looking glass door itself, you see as it is opened, has has depicted on it a classic hand mirror of the looking glass style. And you can see the first thing that strikes you beyond the exquisite furniture and diners, are the floor-to-ceiling windows that all across one side of the floor. You can actually see that they curve around at the far end, though you can't see completely past because there is a section of this building that is clearly the kitchens and not set for dining. But you can see that the windows give you an unparalleled view of the city and the landscape beyond. It is currently night, but if you were to come here in the morning, or if you had come here earlier, you could probably watch sunrise or sunset from different positions in this on this floor. Even though there is no sun, there is still the strange mimicry of sunlight and sunrise and sunset. You can see the tiny points that of stars, real or illusory. It's hard to say in this place. In the night beyond, the decor is tasteful but exquisite, with that distinctly dwarven sort of theme to it, and the obsession with perfection and detail that you've come to associate with dwarven art and craft. A recurring theme in the artwork are depictions of mirrors, and in fact one whole wall at first glance appears to be a mirror of the dining room. And then you realise, and it takes you a few moments as you sort of walk into the restaurant, it's not a mirror. It's a painting that's moving in response to everyone, to the diners.
Oh my god, I have zero chill about this as an artist, if I'm honest.
Oh, that's very clever.
That's so cool.
Yeah, as you kind of if any of you want to go closer, you can kind of inspect it.
Yeah,
as you walk past.
I do want to have a look. Like Ellie wants a look, so Celestia's having one, if I'm honest.
I want to have a look.
You can see that a lot of people are you get the feeling based on the fact that a little bit of a path has been left clear from the doorway to the mirror wall, that this is something they expect first timers to come and take a look at.
Fair, yeah.
As you you just instinctively are drawn on over, and you can see that there are tiny brush strokes and what appears to be oil paint on the wall that flows and moves in reaction to those it's reflecting.
Can I touch it?
You can. It is the paint is dry, and it's strange in that you
even
can
more impressive with a big oil.
Oh yeah,
I haven't figured that out yet.
It's dry enough that it's not coming off on your hands at any rate. But interestingly, you can.
Oh, it does dry. It just takes fucking ages.
But what's quite interesting about the fact that it is moving in oil is that you can feel it subtly moving under your hand at first, and then it stops moving until you peel your hand away and you feel it moving and reshaping in response to your hand movement.
If I'm honest, love, between the moving painting and the light that's not sunlight, you're really giving me a lot to think about here, art-wise.
Yeah. Fun fact, by the way, Celestia and Corzin, your spirits are not reflected in the magical mirror painting, but this is not normal. This is not, this would be normal if it were actually just a mirror, because spirits don't reflect in mirrors anyway.
Yeah.
However you're seeing them, it's not through... it appears that photons reflecting off spirits is not what's happening. Not that you have any concept of how that works.
No. Yeah, okay.
Beyond...
Would at least associate it it's not a mirror.
Yeah.
Magical or otherwise. It's probably magical something else, but yeah.
But it's definitely not a it's definitely not a mirror, and but it is exquisite.
What do you think would happen if I used my magic paint on it? And do you think that would be the way I got myself thrown out?
I mean, what I think might happen is that they might charge you more year money than you could ever earn.
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds about
probably
right.
more like it.
As much as I'd love it.
I just want to know what would happen if I added to it.
Or like if you did a big penis in the middle of it or something.
No, that's not like me at all. It'd be a bum.
Obviously, sorry.
You can see, you see that as you are discussing this, the white uniformed half-elf woman is joined by a hobgoblin man, similarly dressed, and slightly differently dressed in a more I'm going to say pastel yellow, because why not?
That's a horrible colour.
That's a horrible colour. Ooh, I actually hate that
I
so
like
much.
yellow, and that doesn't sound nice.
I actually hate that so much, I'm going to reverse that decision.
You're actually horrified at your own aesthetic choices enough that it must be erased.
Yeah.
When the creator looks down on the creation and goes, "What have I done?"
Yeah, that's...
It's such a bad colour.
That's like the yellow that sometimes you get like stereotypical baby rooms painted in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's gender neutral. Or whatever.
I'm going to go with a pastel, wearing pastel blue and purple robes, robes of a fashionable but less fashionable than many of the diners style. Is a halfling who appears to be some manner of waiter or maître d'. He puts his hands together, bows slightly. Welcome to the Looking Glass. I believe that Master Redfolder is expecting you. He gestures over to a corner where you can see an elderly, white-bearded dwarf is sipping at a drink and idly perusing a menu. He looks up and raises a hand to his brow in a sort of gentle salute.
Give him a little wave.
Yeah, Corzin waves back.
Thank you, yes. We were invited by him.
Of course. You may... we have a menu if you would like to peruse it. Otherwise, you may ask for anything, and our chefs will do their utmost to deliver.
Right, good to know. Thank you.
Jeffrey, best behaviour. This is a fancy establishment.
Everybody in this place is like this society's equivalent of a millionaire, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know how
This fancy.
You know, weirdly, what's coming to mind is in any of the Christopher Nolan Batman films, when they do really honestly, in any Batman film where there's like a charity fundraiser. And
my God, that's the vibe. Yeah.
Yep.
100%.
Oh, terrible.
It's that, but through the but with styles that riff more upon the established sort of robes and trim.
Right, gotcha.
Though there are like elements of obvious fashion within this, like someone has like a shoulder cuff that is it's not like peacock feathers. It's more like they've got the idea of a ruff, but instead of it going around the neck, it's like splaying out from one shoulder. With like a splash of bright colour, of bright red amongst an otherwise sort of greyish purple outfit with little sort of you notice as they move there's little folds in it with slightly with more blue toned slightly more saturated purple in it.
Why? I don't know why. But that thing where you've got a big thing coming up on one side of the shoulder, that's weirdly a Batman fundraiser outfit. Like
It's
you've
such a Batman fundraiser
you've
outfit,
strangely
though, isn't it?
nailed it, and
Yeah.
I didn't. If you'd asked me, I wouldn't have thought about it. Like if you said what outfits are there, but there's always a lady with like a big shoulder thing, isn't there? Like 100%.
Yeah.
So we are surrounded by the charismatically dressed, criminally insane. Yeah, it sounds like a Batman fundraiser.
Yeah, it does. Go over to the red folder guy. He's like, hello. What would you like for dinner?
The doorman's back.
I like the doorman's voice. He sounded like a really big dog for reasons that I can't really explain.
Yeah.
But that is what he sounded like to me.
I'm the goddamn doorman.
Because I'm doorman.
Mothman.
Oh my god, where's Mothman? This is his place.
I mean,
It's alright, I've got his clothes.
I was going to say, as the heir of Mothman, it's
Oh my god, I've still got that fancy fucking butterfly cloak on me.
You do?
It's for
you
surround.
do actually, and
It's for surround, but I could borrow it to be in the posh restaurant, and I might. Fuck it, I'm being Mothman. Let's go for it.
Just do it.
Yeah, I'm
Yep.
gonna wear my it's I believe it was a butterfly cloak that had like orange and black. It's very strange with all the other colours that I have on, but I do it anyway.
you do. Where did we get that?
Mothman.
Is that from? It was one of
It's
Mothman's
one of
other outfits.
Mothman's
It
outfits.
was one of Mothman's
Yeah.
outfits. Yeah,
I didn't take like a full outfit. It was just the cloak.
yeah. Because
I took his Mothman armour.
Yeah, you've got the Mothman armor. Okay, yeah.
because my AC was awful.
Yeah, I somehow, because Celestia is good at acting, it's not weird that she just like pulls this cloak on. Like it looks
Literally just
natural.
like pull it out of one of your pockets. It folds tight because it's silk, and just sweep it on. It's you suddenly, now you're not just wild. Now you're not just wild and weird. You're wildly and weirdly stylish.
Are you saying that I wasn't stylish already? Because like I'll have it for that. I will.
Lies
You
and
watch
slander.
me.
That's fighting talk, that is.
You are past some elegant menus of the style where it's black card with gold edges and everything written in silver ink, and it's all of the names are written in Elvish to sound very impressive, but actually these obviously Celestia, you can just read this and we're not quite at the egg and chips level here.
Right, yeah.
But it is one of those things where these are, I mean, they look like fairly impressive dishes, but when it comes down to it, you could it's various combinations of meat or pastry with thing.
It's a pie.
Yeah,
Pie and chips.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pie and mash.
I love that it's like boring food but presented excitingly. That really pleases me for reasons I can't really explain.
Like the food. You're looking at a lot of the food as you're walking past, and it does the dishes do appear to be genuinely very well presented and probably very well made, but as is often the case when you can read the foreign language the menu's been put in, it's just less impressive when you can see what it actually
like
is.
if you could read the French, that's what we're going for, right?
You read Vimto Clisto Speciale, special Vimto.
Special Vimto.
Yeah.
It's a great menu item.
It's like poisson et sauce fromage. Right, so that's fish and cheese sauce.
Fish and cheese. Yeah.
Legumes in a tomato jus.
Yes,
artisanal
reclining on a
sourdough.
bed.
That's beans on toast, innit?
Yeah.
Yes. Fancy beans on toast.
Notably,
I do like fancy beans on toast.
Yeah,
notably,
really good, actually.
there are no prices on this menu. This is very much if you have to ask, you can't afford it.
If you have to ask, you wouldn't be in here.
Yeah, you literally wouldn't be allowed in.
You wouldn't be able to get in if you had to ask. Ugh. Fucking posh people, help.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, you are escorted. You are invited rather over to Magnus's table. You can see he has a private sort of booth, and and rather than being served by the waiters beyond the initial introduction by the maitre d', throughout this meal, your orders are taken and delivered by other white-coated members of what it appears from context to be Magnus's personal staff. I will say, during this conversation, you're attended by a total... you identify 6 of them. A male halfling, a male human, the female half-elf, the male hobgoblin as well, and also a male goblin and a female orc. All of them conduct themselves with a similar sort of level of the sort of that sort of professional guarded face where they don't really let out anything beyond a polite smile, and they silently take whatever orders and bring food and the like. Nevertheless, Magnus for his part, stands up as you arrive and extends his hand to each of you in turn.
That's okay. Pleasure to meet you, Mr. Redfolder.
He takes your hand, clasps a hand over it, and gives you a sort of that sort of classic firm handshake and a look in the eye, and says, "Absolute pleasure to meet you." And I'm afraid I've only been introduced to Celestia Stardust here. If I could ask you if I could ask your name as well, please.
Oh, Corzin Horhace, at your service.
An absolute pleasure, and a man of manners as well. Please order anything you like. I might recommend. Actually, whereabouts are you from?
Wending originally.
Wending. All right. Well, I see. I would have suggested I'd have thought maybe Cairnese and gotten you suggested a Scotch, but they can do a reasonable approximation of a Wendish stout.
Oh, that sounds delightful, actually.
He looks to the orc woman. What gets Wendish stout, please, and of course, Celestia. A pleasure to meet you once again.
Hello.
His hand.
Thank you for the invite. Very kind of you.
Do you take the offered handshake?
Yeah.
Okay. Shakes, clutches your hand, sort of does press a hand over. You notice he's wearing. He has one ring that he's wearing. Gives you that sort of smile and look in the eye.
I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
Just because I'm getting a vibe with the shaking the hands in exactly the same way. I imagine this would be something to roll for. But, is there an alternative motive in this handshake? Having put together... I'll try and be specific about what I'm asking about. He's used the exact same hand motion, and I've seen his ring.
Can I ask you for an insight check, please?
I was just thinking the same thing.
Decent.
Can I roll that too?
What was that?
You can.
I was thinking the same thing. Or, alternatively, maybe can I try and figure out if that ring's magic in some way?
21.
21. Okay. So you have a choice.
Try an Arcana?
So you have a choice. You can either do an Insight or an Arcana. So if you want to do
Celestia's did a decent insight, I'll try Arcana because that was my instinct.
Not brilliant. 17.
Okay. Right. Scamp. It's entirely possible that that ring is enchanted in some way, or that he could be using magic through it. It would make sense that perhaps this magic might require skin-to-skin contact. Without a detect magic spell, it's hard to be certain. The ring is... You do notice that the ring is made from a combination of... does appear to be made from a mix of ostensibly silver, but you do notice what from the slightly different patternings within the dwarven runes carved onto it could be indicative of mage metals in there. So it certainly could be an enchanted ring. Celestia. This man is quite hard to read.
Yeah, fair.
You get an impression that Magnus is someone who is used to controlling his his outward appearance and social interactions. He is certainly presenting to you the face of a welcoming host. He does appear to be genuinely interested in meeting with your entire party, and you notice that he is making, and in particular, you notice that he is making an effort to clasp your both his hands onto yours, and give you a sort of a look in the eye and a smile. And he repeats this. He's repeated this action with Corzin and with you now. He then moves to Scamp and extends a hand as well. And you would be.
Hello, I'm Scamp friend. This is Jeffrey. Jeffrey, shake the nice person's hand.
Well, I don't think I've seen a creature like you in a long time. He extends 2 fingers and taps his hand over Jeffrey's little paw. Cool. I'm just going to make it a note of something. So
now I'm worried about Jeffrey, but it was funny, so I had to do it.
Yep.
It's really funny.
Well, and may I ask what? Would you mind if I ask where you're from originally? I have to say, I have not seen a tiefling since my youth, and to have 2 arrive at once is a true wonder.
Yeah, I'm from all over, really. I mean, I ended up a place, but that isn't where I'm from, so who knows?
Do you have a particular food or drink that you like, though?
Chocolate.
Actually, one moment. Oh, no, yeah, I'm just thinking timelines. Chocolate. Well, that's very interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Okay.
It's very, very fancy. Only the best people have it.
It kind of is slightly fancy. Unironically.
I mean, it is, but I also get it every day, so you know.
Yeah.
And you get that every day. Is it a secret recipe? Can you make it from? Common ingredients, or is it?
It's made from a plant that comes from Sunder.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time in Sunder.
Sunder? Really?
You ever been yourself?
No. You know, I've heard tales of Sunder, but by the time when I came here, it really hadn't even been found yet.
Huh.
Really?
Oh, I've been here. I'm afraid I came here as a young dwarf, and well, I like to think I'm looking pretty good for 612.
Exceedingly.
Is that older than?
You were well.
So, you would know, Celestia, that 612 is old for a dwarf, but for a white-bearded, elderly-looking dwarf, that's
about right.
Believable. It's about, in human terms, early to mid-90s.
Okay.
You would expect, the oldest dwarf you've heard of ever got to, I think, the grand age of 703 before popping their clogs. So, comparable lifespan to the oldest an elf can get.
Right.
So, yeah, this guy is... Yeah, this guy might have has a few decades left in him, but he is old.
A few, but not loads and loads. Yeah. That makes sense.
And says, but let me just meet the rest of your companions first, and I would love to hear all about it. I'm afraid I can't. I don't think I could manage chocolate. If you can get it every day, presumably you've got some of it with you then.
Yes. I think I haven't eaten it all today.
Well, is it a savoury dish? Is it sweet?
Yes.
Savoury and sweet?
Yes.
Well,
mostly sweet. I mostly eat it sweet, but you can have it. Yeah, it depends what you do with it.
I am always interested in new experiences. I'd be very grateful if you would consider sharing some of that for the, I suppose, the dessert course.
Oh, it feels like a dessert.
I can do that.
And forgive me, your last two companions, you would be Vic. Vic. Yeah. I come from all over too. I'm not as partial to chocolate, but if you've got a decent red wine, of course, he nods to one of the white coated servants who goes to retrieve some. By this point, the orc, I believe, returns with a large stout for Corzin. Forgive me, I forgot to get to ask, what sort of drink would you like, Celestia?
Oh, if there's any decent whiskey, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
And I believe we do happen to have just a little bit of the Cairnese left, so some of the Cairnese Highland.
Take some of that, please.
And you would be... Hello! It is an absolute pleasure to meet you. Shanti takes his hand and shakes it back firmly with a grin. Chanterelle Delacroix.
Fuck yeah, Shanti.
Financial advisor and general and budding entrepreneur. New, but I can see a lot of potential in this city. I can see a woman after my own heart. And you're from Wending myself as well. And you know what? I would definitely appreciate a stout from home. Of course. Another stout.
I try and not move my face, but also convey "fuck yeah" to Shanti, just like through sheer eye contact.
Please, come have a seat. Order whatever you like for food. Now, so, if I understand, he says as he settles down and picks up a glass of red wine that he's been working his way through. It would have... So you have travelled all over and you've been to Sunder.
Yes.
Yes, we have.
This one has a ship, so we've done quite a lot of travelling.
Yeah, I'm been a sailor for most of my life.
Sailing. You know, I have to say that myself, back in my adventuring days, I would get horrendously seasick. Some dwarves just take to it naturally, but...
darling, I feel you.
Everyone takes time to find their sea legs.
You try finding your sea legs when you've not even had sky for most of your life. It's quite frightening, really, to be honest. People laugh at drow when they go on boats because we take so fucking long to not be seasick. It's embarrassing, truth be told.
Oh, you'll get no mockery from me. Almost exactly the same. You know, one of the things that I love most about living here is the sunrises. Back when I lived down below, just never saw those things.
Yeah.
So you came from where did you come from originally? Were you?
Well, I came from the old traditional dwarven homes in the mountains, and of course beneath the earth. I travelled the Underdark in my youth.
Huh. Fun. Where did you get to?
Oh, well, let's see. I'm
from Utu myself.
Utu, really? I did actually get to Utu myself during my journeys. Back in my youth, it was a truly life-changing experience meeting with the old clan. I wonder how they're doing now. Actually, you said you're from Utu. How is the city these days?
Yeah, it's great. Temple, looking fabulous. It is a particularly eye-catching one in that city, I find.
Did they have the Wormway when you were there?
Oh, yes. I actually had... Have you had the opportunity to ride them out Wormways?
I legit haven't I?
You have.
Yeah.
The rest of the party hasn't.
The rest
I have
of
a
us
few
haven't.
times, yes, actually. It's a fun way to
We
travel.
didn't visit for long, unfortunately.
We didn't get a chance ourselves, but it was an impressive sight.
No, one day I'll take you. It's a very exciting way to travel. It's very quick. One of the best things about it.
Well, it certainly was. It certainly was back when I rode it, and if it's everything's still around today and the infrastructure's still there, then clearly things must be going very well.
Red folder. I think your clan made the priestess some fabulous armour while we were there.
That seems very likely. The Red Folder clan is noted for its skills in metalworking and enchantment. It's where I learned my craft.
We didn't get to know any of you well, but we saw some excellent armour that was made.
It's been It has been a while since I've gotten to work on some real, on some proper armour craft, but, well, it's hard to get the materials. You know how it is.
I'd imagine,
I can imagine,
I can't, unfortunately, show it off properly because of where we are, but you might be interested to know that this is, in fact, a Red Folder item, and I gesture to Riptide.
He looks at the
We're all fucking laying it on.
A
stolen sword.
He looks at the blade and asks, would you mind if I examined it? Purely from out of professional curiosity.
Well, I don't suppose there's any harm in it, but we were told very emphatically when we arrived that we mustn't unsheath it, otherwise it's breaking the law.
Ah, I quite understand. However, I, as a professional metalworker and enchanter, I do actually have license to undo a piece binding for the purposes of examination, provided I don't try and stab anyone with it while I'm giving it a look.
Well, might ruin the upholstery here, but and Corzin will unbuckle it from his belt and hand it over. Thank you very much. He examines it and carefully looks up, beckons over the maitre d'. Do you witness that that I am undoing these peace bonds for the purposes of examining this in a professional capacity? Of course, I so witness. Many thanks. Carefully undoes the binding. It bears the blade, just leaving it on the table. Worth noting.
And examines it in the light, tilting it over. Runs a finger carefully along the grain, admires the sort of wave texturing of the blade before carefully closing it back up and redoing the piece bonding before passing it back to you. That I've seen a lot of work, and I have to admit, I have to acknowledge that is most certainly a masterpiece. You are a very lucky man to have that.
I know, and would it perhaps have been one of your another branch of your family that was responsible for running that?
Oh, most certainly. I was originally from, I suppose you'd call us a cadet branch of the Red Folder clan. The main clan, one of the main branches of the clan lives in O2. They're the ones with the proper... I believe they even have a proper borehole there for effective smelting.
Yeah, I think we heard something about them. I don't really know a lot about smelting, but I think they did have some sort of specialist equipment there.
Yes, no, they did mention something about that in terms of the manufacture process. And did we run into another branch of the family in Vondion?
Oh, we might have done,
Well, as I said, there's Vondion. Surface, that's Seoul, yes?
Yeah, that's
right, yeah.
I spent a fair amount of time in Seoul not that long ago.
And how did you find it? The last time I heard anything about Seoul would have been... perhaps... When did we last have visitors from that sort of area? 80 years ago?
Well, I've still got a king called Leon.
Mm-hmm. One of the classics.
Don't know if it's the same one, I doubt it.
Well, if the monarchs are still human, then I'd be very surprised.
That would be impressive.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, if it's not rude to ask, who did you come here with originally?
Grins a little, takes a sip of wine. Well, I actually came here on my own.
Really?
So...
How did you find your way here on your own?
Well, in my...
Entrepreneurial spirit?
Indeed. And in my youth, I was quite the explorer of old, gigantic ruins in Haldanos.
Right.
You see, it appeared... I reached an epiphany after visiting the old clan that I couldn't proceed much further with the enchanting techniques I'd learned. There were some who wanted to experiment and go forward, and I saw merit in that, but I thought back to the legends of the past, and I wondered if there might be truth in them. After all,
as much as we dwarves like to claim credit, there were tales of the old glyph forgers of old among the giants. So, I embarked on a quest of a decade or two, or 3, and I found references to a city of clouds. A city that had within it some of the greatest works of dwarven craft. Sorry, of gigantic craft. Maybe the wine getting to me. And one that was unlike the rest of gigantic civilization, did not disappear with the giants, but was stolen before they all vanished. Well, before the majority of them vanished, anyway. There's still a few kicking around, of course, back in the homeland. I assume there's still giants in Haldanos. Not many.
So I've heard.
But,
yeah, they're a little thin on the ground these days.
Well, such is the way of old things. Nevertheless, after a lot of investigation, I learned more than a few tricks about gigantic enchantment, and I managed to find the Cirrus Citadel.
That was very impressive.
All on your own.
Yeah.
Indeed. And I assume that you've travelled... well, obviously you're here. Is this your first door?
No.
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 So you found that the rest of it's a fucking death trap, then? Sorry.
To one extent or another.
Yeah, a lot of it is. How many places did you go through?
3. You can see a slightly distant look in his eyes and like a...
Which ones? Humour me.
Well, there's the absolute lunatic obsessed with monsters and monsters and trying to bring back the morning.
Yeah, that was insane. Yeah.
There was someone who... let's see. There was some sort of utterly bewildering series of... I don't think I can even really describe it. It's like everything was mixed up all higgledy-piggledy. And it was an absolute devil to make my way out through that. Oh, and then there was the death trap full of literal death traps and lights and darkness.
Oh, that
this
one.
place is a pleasant rest after all of that.
This is the first one I reached with people in. And
you decided you liked it, obviously.
Well, I did. For one thing, there was actual civilization. For another thing, I wasn't about to try and go backwards through all of those.
That seems eminently
How did
sensible.
the echoes respond to you in the other rooms? What's their response when you're not what they're expecting?
Hostile.
Yeah, no, I thought it might be. I was curious.
Yeah, I'm impressed you got as far as you did.
So other than there being like civilization, what changed when you got here? Did you meet the law bearer?
Oh, Now that's a bit of a touchy subject, you see.
Why?
Well, ostensibly the law bearer sees the city, but of course nobody's seen them in centuries.
I meant no offence.
Oh, no, no one had seen them when I got here for a very long time.
So you haven't met them?
No.
In fact, the city itself was very different. Smaller in certain ways. The people were different. No sense of industry, understand? No sense of progress. Oh, they did enough to get by, but places like the Rosewood just didn't exist. There was an open air pit, a space for people to perform in, but there was no real... There was less grandeur. See, I like nice things. And people like nice things. I like being able to dine on fine foods, wear fine clothes. That's part of what makes life worth living.
Oh, quite.
And speaking of which, there's a brief pause for you to order whatever you like. Just pointing.
I order the fancy beans on toast.
Fancy beans on toast. Actually, yes. If anyone wants
Ellie wants
to
it.
Imagine another dish and order it, please do, or challenge them to provide something.
Corzin will have the risol. It's basically a burger.
Scamp.
I would like pie and mash.
The what?
What?
Pie and mash.
Yes.
Pie and mash. You order a pie and mash.
Excellent.
And Jeffrey points at something. It appears to be... Jeffrey doesn't quite seem to realise this, but he has... but he's either going to be very happy or very disappointed when he realises he's ordered the steak tartare.
This has never happened to anyone we know.
Yes. Oh.
That was a funny day.
It was a disappointing meal. The and Victory essentially orders a fancy fish and chips, while Shanty pretends to inspect and then points out what is essentially some sort of fish pie. Harvey continues. But you see, the thing is, the best restaurants in town, all of the finest parlours were tiny, little family affairs run for the joy of it. And yes, they were good, but they could have been more. And there were a few bright sparks who had the ambition to do more. And I made note of them. But the fact is, anything grand that needed doing, you had to get the city to mandate. And the city, when it came down to it, didn't really have any power beyond asking and obligating. They'd say, this work needs to be done, and whoever would go and do it. And yes, there was the citizenship, but when it came down to it, as powers go, it really only motivated the youngest members of society. People who were looking for their own homes, or the handful that wanted to own weapons, become defenders, and guard the walls, or try and strike out into the wastes. Even those who wanted magical items, which, frankly, became a lot easier. And those people, I have to say, became the core of my first market. The thing that I realised is that people need incentives. They need something to push them, to make them strive harder. And at the end of the day, money is such a simple motivator, I just had to reinvent it.
Well, it sounds like it's a good thing you came along.
Oh, indeed. Because all of this, and he gestures out to the diners, to the restaurant, but you also get a sense of the city beyond, the tall buildings that are just
below so that they don't block this line view, this view of the horizon. This is what you can achieve. Is what we can achieve when people are properly motivated.
Well, the results certainly speak for themselves.
I like to think that they do.
Well, it's an impressive city. Yes.
I'd love to have seen what it would have looked like when you first arrived, to have like a kind of before and after comparison.
Yeah.
I do actually have some old paintings of the city in my apartment.
Oh, really?
Oh yes, I'd be happy to show them to you. It's there are so many things that I'm glad to bring. Things like, well, the glass. He gestures. They had glass.
They didn't have glass here before.
They had ordinary glass, glazers and the like, but amongst the things that I learned how to make from studying the works of the giants was sky glass.
Ooh.
Clear as glass and strong as steel.
Well, that's impressive.
Between you and me, an absolute bastard to make.
I'd imagine so. Don't think it'd be easy. Otherwise, everyone would do it, wouldn't they?
Yeah. No, the giants were very clever with that. I've only really ever heard about it in stories, but yeah, it's supposed to be damn near unbreakable.
I mean, clearly you've got some craftsmen in this city, because I gesture at the painting.
Ah, yes. That was...
Anyone you know?
Well, you could say that. He smiles.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that a romantic interest that I'm not supposed to know about or something? I do the cheeky posh person acting, like wanting the gossip.
Sorry, Scamp, what did you say?
Was it just, did you just do it?
I commissioned a series of excellent artists to produce the underlying work, and then, yes, I perform the enchantment myself.
Oh, you do magic then?
I perform enchantment. So
of course, that makes sense.
And while I am a patron of the Inns of Magic, that classical style of wizardry is not my forte.
Fair enough.
You, of course, it seems, have quite the bit of magic at your disposal yourself. I was very impressed with the little bit of promotional work you did.
Thank you. I managed to pick up some training.
Yeah, Celestia's a very good wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're very talented.
Yeah, the grand tour, I sort of went a bit off the rails and went to university. Family wasn't best pleased, as you can imagine.
Of course. Of remembering.
Oh, see, that is frowned upon, isn't it?
Yes, it is absolutely.
Drow being wizards is frowned upon.
Yeah, wizardry is absolutely frowned upon as being lesser in Drow society. I just don't remember remembering my own law. Because, yes, they would be, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but, you see people doing magic, you get jealous. You have to know.
Absolutely.
It was a bit of a tearaway in my family, to be honest. But, all for the better, because now I can do cool stuff, so...
And may I ask, are you the only wizard amongst your group?
I literally just, pause and let Scamp answer. I don't look at you, I just don't answer, because I want to leave it to you.
I can do some magic too.
Yeah,
I've got this colouring book.
Yeah, Scamp's picked up a few rituals along the way.
I see. And an excellent achievement for your age. It's like I said, it's been a long time since I've seen tieflings, but if I had to guess, you're what? 15, 16? Something like that?
15 is about 15. Yes. One of the 50. Yes.
And a little older than Vic here. I mean, yeah, you don't need to rub it in, but... She takes a sip. It's actually a pretty decent wine.
The whiskey's really good.
Yeah, can I take a brief moment and ask if he or anyone around us has given any indication that they can see either Celestia or my spirits? Given what we know.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah.
Roll an insight check, please. And
can I do one as well?
Yeah.
Because I think it's one that I would have been looking for. 13.
I was thinking I could do it more like as... Oh, that's a natural one, but lucky.
Oh, no.
Okay, that's better. That is... Oh, no, of course it's... Yeah, oh, sorry. That is a 21.
21.
Ooh, decent.
Yeah.
Okay. Your broad... frankly, your stereoscopic vision is a big aid here. Celestia, you don't really notice anything.
Not as good at noticing. Yeah.
Corzin.
Mm-hmm.
Magnus doesn't seem to perceive your spirits at all in any way.
Okay, good to know.
However, you think you catch a moment where where it's hard to be sure, but you think the half-elf woman in the white coat seems to be glancing just above Celestia.
The rainbow spirit is being particularly obvious. It's pretty much like if it was like a cat, it would be hissing at him.
Right.
Like that's it's pissed.
To anyone else, your assumption would be that she's just doing the thing that people sometimes do, where they're just sort of gazing up slightly and trying to remain aloof from the situation. But primed and suspicious as you are, her eye line does seem to match up with that of the spirit, though it lowers again after a moment.
Okay. I don't say anything for the moment, but I continue with the conversation.
So what's brought... Presumably, then, you came into the Citadel yourself for your own reasons.
Well, oh god, where was the, secret entrance that we found? The clamshell, Where was that?
Oh,
that's out of character because I just can't remember.
Yeah, the clamshell. Yes, you found a clamshell.
Because that's the first thing that's coming to my head.
To the broken ways was just outside Kion.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes, it was. Because that was where we fought the Sahuagin again.
Yeah. Well, we found... It was a weird thing, actually. We found this clamshell. It was in Kion.
Mm-hmm.
And it had all these sort of tunnels in it. And one of them seemed to go somewhere quite interesting. So we did a bit of research. Didn't find anything, and eventually we just ended up following it.
And you came out somewhere quite unexpected.
Yes. What was the
Yeah,
first
just a
chamber
bit.
that we were in? What was the first one?
The first of the ones in the void.
No, in the Sirius Citadel.
In the Sirius Citadel, that was the waste. That was the desert.
The storm.
Yeah.
Storm. Yeah.
Yeah, we came up out of an oasis and ended up in a desert. It was really weird.
Curious. Well, it seems that you've you're just you've just pretty much been exploring.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, once we got in, it was not really particularly easy to get out again.
Yeah, so we kept going forwards. We've been told that, if we keep going, there might only be one place left after this one.
Very impressive.
But, that's what people have told us in other rooms, so hard to know if it's reliable or not.
Yeah.
So, as you say, there's some weird types in here.
And so you haven't been out of here since you arrived?
Well, the fact of the matter is, it looks like the only options for me to get out would be to go back through the hellish death traps that I barely escaped.
Yay!
Well, that
if you're on your
particularly
own,
pleasant.
And I have everything I want here. I
was
guess.
Just curious, because, some of the... I'm definitely not any kind of enchanter myself, but I know that it requires some fairly choice materials that I wouldn't have thought were particularly available around here, but I could be wrong.
You would be right there. It's difficult to get the parts. Of course, there's always the hope that people will venture out into the wilds, and sometimes they bring things back, and over a long enough time, what I need will eventually make its way here. But it was a lot easier to produce a lot of my most impressive works earlier on, before things got more used up.
Yeah, I'd imagine it's sort of finite here, isn't it?
Oh, very. Ultimately, well, I suppose in a sense, unless things get changed by whatever is out there in the wilderness, finite is something of the name of the game. We're limited to whatever it was the giants stole from the world when they stole this place.
Ah, is that what happens then? Interesting.
So what happens when things do start to run out? Would you have to venture outside to gather new resources, or trade with people from outside? Or what's
the plan?
Yeah. Is there a plan?
Or do you just start melting down what you've already got and reforming it?
Because I'd have thought that must be what you were doing already, because of all of the stuff that is here. This must have taken centuries to create all of this, and he just gestures broadly, but yeah.
To a degree it has, and yes, you're right, there is a small amount of recycling. In a sense, the nightmares of the wastes are a mixed blessing. They seem to keep things fresh to some degree, have some way of providing unexpected resources. For instance, did you know that Quakers leave rich mineral deposits in their wake?
No.
I had heard this, but never come across one really until just recently.
I think
I was helping out in the hospital with the Quaker attack.
What's a Quaker? I don't think I've come across this term. Celestia hasn't. I was just trying to think whether... Yeah.
You... because Celestia hadn't, but the others had.
Nah.
Quakers are a curious sort of monster. They have smaller cousins back in Calcinea. But the ones here are... They like to burrow through the earth. They're attracted to mineral deposits normally to a slight degree, more for nesting reasons. But the ones here seem to gather up certain minerals into their shells. Over time, they shed them, and they can, in a sense, almost refresh a mined out area. It's just a shame how disruptive they can be. And that's just one of the strange materials that can show up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's got to be something to do with their digestion as they eat and consume other things. The byproducts of that turn into different resources.
Yeah, I mean, monster parts can be used for all sorts, can't they?
Yes.
Speaking of digestion, and the various foods are provided as dinner continues. Red Folder sort of cuts his way into a very rare steak, and your various different dishes are provided with. Honestly, even the pie and mash is very well. Like the mash is very fluffy and done up into like a little spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's sort of like ice cream. When you do the little puffs on ice cream.
Little puffs on ice cream.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes I do. Sorry, that was adorable. Anyway, it's a really cute way of putting it. But I do actually get what you mean.
The pie has delicate pastry cows.
Aww.
Or,
I'm excited for my beans. That's what I'm excited about.
You'll
Be good beans.
They are actually excellent beans on toast. It's like it's kind of like beans on bruschetta, and they are delicately but piquantly spiced.
Oh yeah.
Sounds really good, honestly. Like, I'm down.
There's even a little bit of decorative salad to one side.
Random question. So I keep looking at this painting. I can't take my eyes off it. If I wanted to commission one of these artists, like, is there a recommendation you have for a particular one? Where would I go? Like, I'd love to meet some of them. It's beautiful.
Well, I'm afraid that in this case, you'd be a little out of luck, as the original artists, I believe the last of them passed away about 90 years ago. You have to understand you have to understand halflings and humans.
Fair.
And they did that particular work a good couple of centuries back now.
No, fair enough. Is there anything weird in how he's talking about this painting? Like, I don't know, I just...
You can roll an insight check if you want.
Yeah. Nah, it's bad. It's like 6. I've no idea.
As far as you can tell, he's somewhat proud of the painting. You're not getting a sort
abnormal.
You're not really getting a vibe of it. Like 80 years ago, I murdered the last of them. Sort of vibe. He just seems to be treating this as you having interest in a piece of his work.
That's the tone I'm doing. So fair. Yeah.
But I do, as I say, I do have some of the original sketches. I do like to collect artworks, and as I said, I do have sketches from the city before it got built up.
I would like to see that, because this is the first place we've been where, like, the person who made it's not really around, so it'd be interesting.
Well, you know what?
Yeah, I mean, it's just so involved, isn't it? It's fascinating.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to invite each of you upstairs if you'd like. I do own the penthouse.
Oh, wow.
I could show you.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
I wondered who lived up there.
Yes. No,
Well,
I'd
it's
be
a
happy to
beautiful
show you
place
some
to
of the pieces from my collection.
Sounds lovely. If that's not too much
Thank you.
acquisition.
No,
That would be
absolutely
fantastic.
They've not seen a lot of art in here since we've been here.
Art is an interesting thing. I personally am a great lover of art. But
I'm the same.
the people here have their styles, their fashions that come and go. And they're such fans of order, of everything being just so and in its place. Do you know they actually have a giant rock garden where they just rearrange stones? Sometimes large stones, sometimes small stones, little pebbles.
There was someone who liked stones we were talking to before. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard
was
about that.
Oh,
I thought those are popular in Haldanos.
One of the people on the desks where you get your passports. I can't remember their name.
Oh, the passport administrator. That
Yeah.
makes sense. No, there's a whole public garden. In fact, he gestures and you glancing out the city, you can indeed see what appears to be, there is a sort of public park that appears to be the largest Zen garden you've ever seen.
Right.
It has like
Zen as fuck.
it has like Mania style obelisks, as well.
So fucking Zen.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
There's
yeah.
like you know how you get people who like perfectly balanced rocks on the beach.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
like rocks like that that are, the size of carts that have been careful. Presumably, it must have taken whole group teams of people to get them organised like that.
Yeah.
That's one of the originals.
You see, that's very impressive, but it's not really my thing so much. I find this sort of art I gesture at the painting, which I'm assuming is like a beautiful fucking oil painting.
Oh yeah,
Just, a bit more expressive.
I absolutely agree. There's
Nothing wrong with the rocks, just, not for me so much.
Personally, I found this place lacking in personal expression. Everything
Flair.
was... Everything was at the mercy of what the people, whatever that means, wanted. At the mercy of gathering large groups together to do a thing. And you couldn't achieve the sort of personal expression that you can when you can...
When you have
can
somebody properly
gather.
manage a project? Is that what you're talking about?
That's parts of it, yes, but everything was volunteer-based. People would, like the garden, like the Zen garden, not Zen, like the rock gardens, people would carry on a project until they got bored, and then it would stall until someone else took it up, and unless it was an actual civic need, it was entirely at the whim of whoever could convince the most people to do a thing. Debates. There were so many debates in those days.
Imagine that got boring quite quickly.
They had their uses. People would discuss philosophy and all manner of things. But they were a useful platform to get people to understand what wealth could do for them. And it took time, but I managed to shift enough minds over enough time to really make something of this place.
Oh, you must be a patient man.
Well, you know how it is with us dwarves. When we do something, we like to do it right, and we like to take our time.
And certainly you must have had to have been very charismatic, convincing, if it was all subject to debate and public opinion.
I find that if I can sit down and have a good chat with the right people for long enough, I can usually bring them round to my way of thinking.
Well, you can get
Sure.
a lot done with a chat. I agree
Exactly.
with that, certainly.
Can I just see how sinister that comment was? Can I just roll insight on how much that just means I do magic on people and charm the fuck out of them?
I mean, you can roll an insight check if you want.
I'm going to roll insight, and regardless of its answer, that is what I'm going to decide it, man. Oh, it's a 21.
God, well done. Look at
Okay. If I will say that if this person has some sort of secret way of magically compelling and charming people, that's definitely a phrase that will make you super suspicious of that. You also might be paranoid.
I might be paranoid. I absolutely might. But that was a loaded sentence that made me really not like this.
And there've been so many of those.
There's been so many of them.
Like,
there was just that one. I was like, when that one's too far, I have to roll inside.
Like, out of character, I'm lying real hard right now. Like, so hard. Like,
We're doing all the lying.
Well, speaking in any case, I think that was a very satisfactory meal.
That was lovely. Very nice.
You were expressing an interest in looking at some of my collection, and personally, I would be very interested in trying some of this chocolate. Perhaps we could retire upstairs to my penthouse.
I mean, art and chocolate is a
That would be
fantastic combination.
Excellent.
Yes.
And if you'd like any drinks for the road, please.
Sure. I order another, big whiskey.
The shanty orders a small sparkling white wine, but Vic doesn't finish her drink. leaves her wine. What? Did Scamp order any sort of drink?
Apparently not.
Sorry?
Apparently not. I don't think I ever got around to it.
Yeah, no, I don't remember
Maybe we forgot.
ordering.
Yeah. I'm gonna guess that some water in a jug was provided at one point.
Probably, yeah.
Do you drink any of the water?
I'd be probably.
Cool.
Because
it's good water.
I don't trust this place, but it's going to look real weird if I don't.
Yeah.
You having had a little bite to eat, a little drink, you see that the various white-coated servants help sort of clean, bring you final drinks as others clear away the table, and three of them join you as going up as Magnus leads you back out of the restaurant and up the last flight of stairs to a
So stressed.
To a beautiful wooden, what appears to be a beautiful oaken door, with a little keyhole and handle. You see Magnus reaches behind his billowing white beard and produces a small silver key on a little chain. Unlocks the door.
I want to keep things in my beard, but it always it explodes when I sneeze, and then it's gone forever.
That's hilarious.
Do you say that out loud?
I mutter it to myself.
There is a brief. As you mutter that, like, Scamp, you're the only one who mutters that. I guess potentially the Corzin or Celestia, you might have heard the mumble. You might have heard them mutter something. But
something weird about a beard. Yeah.
Yeah, you had something about a beard. You do. I'll say that all of you do notice a brief, almost like a pause from Magnus, just for a second after Scamp says this, before opening the door and leading you in. As you step into, as the door opens, you are shown into the sort of living room-esque area of the penthouse, and again there is these sort of floor-to-ceiling windows on one side, giving an unparalleled view of the city. A lot of this, there are sort of like sort of dividing walls with wide open archways between the different rooms. But you can see that I'm going to say that broadly, if we do a sort of northeast-southwest, because I always enjoy doing this, putting my entrances on the south side for some reason, you come in from the foyer to the south, and there is to the west is the wide window along the living room. You can see there's tastefully decorated wooden wall, sort of with fucking like dado, like a wooden dado, and very nice wallpaper to the north. To the east, there is a sort of wide open archway with dividing wall leading into what looks to be a personal bar. And one of the three white-coated servants who enters immediately takes up a position behind the bar to prepare various drinks. Others sort of place themselves around the other two place themselves around the living room, ready to answer any requests. One by the door, one by the opposite wall, and you can just see beyond there is another archway past the bar that seems to be leading into the master bedroom. There are a number along the side of the wall, along the end of the sort of bar type area. I'm going to say on the sort of northern wall again, which is fairly flat and decorated. You can see there are various pieces of artwork on the walls, including, indeed, sketches of the early city, which do appear to be, which you can examine, and you can see a number. There are a number of. I'm going to say that there are three sort of sturdy, stone-looking plinths with what look like some sort of dome-like object underneath each of them. But you can't currently see them because they are covered with little cloths.
Oh, okay.
Does it feel okay in here?
Feels normal. Like,
spirits seem okay?
Spirits, rainbow spirits looking around with a little interest, but definitely the same hostility you're feeling.
Oh yeah, like it's pissed, but otherwise...
there are interesting things here. So I will say, for the sake of completeness, you can just see that there is a door, that there is a slightly ajar, an open door from the master bedroom into what appears to be a bathroom with, you would guess, probably some sort of swanky bath in there. Depends if you want to investigate that or not. If you want to go investigate the bathroom for a moment. But you can see that that Magnus is leading you over towards the various art pieces of art in the along the sort of northern wall at the bar area. If you'd like any more drinks, please just see whatever you'd like, and we'll fix them up for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm still nursing this one for a while yet. You don't want to rush a whiskey this good.
You all enter, all stepping in. Jeffrey pops onto the bar. The orc at the bar kind of tilts her head for a moment, and after steps to the side and produces what appears to be a bowl of peanuts.
Of course.
Jeffrey starts gnawing on peanuts, quite at ease.
Jeffrey's having a great day.
Yeah.
No.
as you can see, I've got a series of art pieces here.
Oh wow, beautiful place you've got, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is wonderful.
Great deal of work to put it all together, but I am very pleased with it. This one of my great joys to be able to wake up in the morning, just as towards the master bedroom, and you can see that there is indeed another floor-to-ceiling window. There are curtains, but they're currently drawn, so you can see the stars out. I enjoy being able to wake and watch the sunrise, and gestures over to the living room and the other floor-to-ceiling window, and to be able to sleep, and in the evening to watch the sunset, or, well, watch the sunset and the sunrise. There is no sun here, as I'm sure you've noticed.
Yeah, it's a weird thing, that, isn't it? Interesting.
Yeah.
How does that work? Do you know?
Well, if I had to make a guess, I would probably... My estimate would be that the sky itself is not exactly real. Most likely a very powerful enchantment of some sort, or some sort of illusion.
Suppose that'll make sense. Fucking big illusion, though, eh?
Yeah. A fine approximation though. The real sort of warmth on your skin, the lovely feeling of daylight. Plants grow well enough, but there is just something about it that's not quite the same as the real thing.
No, I agree with you. Still pretty, though. Just different.
And of course, though, I gestures to the three covered downs. These we have a handful of. I suppose you call these the centerpieces of my collection.
What are they?
Things I recovered from my adventuring days. Would you like to see them?
Love to.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah.
He pulls the rug, sort of dramatic. Sorry, I should stop the music and replace it with a different one, because as soon as the door closes into the apartment, the distant sound of the restaurant just cuts off completely. The room here.
That's frightening.
The room here is quiet by comparison. You see, he pulls the cloth off the first one, and you see there is what appears to be a piece of cloudstone that has you notice has been cracked on one side and slightly melted on two others, in that way that you've seen pieces of cloudstone melted back in Sunder in some of the oldest rooms, but the rest is intact. And on it, there is a series of gigantic runes and art depicting what appears to be a sort of line drawing of, well, a walled city with a sort of bubble over it, floating, stylistically depicted among the clouds. It very much reminds you of the Cirrus Citadel as you first saw it when you entered through the crack in the wall, besides the big obvious Citadel door.
Huh, surprised you haven't been to Sunder. Acheen Cities is where I've seen that kind of stone before.
Acheen?
Yeah. Sunderfolk.
The name does ring a bell, now that I think of it.
I think the giants interacted with them way back when.
He pauses and gestures, and one of the servants takes a piece of artwork down from the wall, and you can see there's a hand-sketched drawing of what appears to be
a different set of markings, this time depicting, in that style, gigantic style you've come to expect, what appears to be a giant working at some sort of forge, aided by much smaller figures with bird-like features. Like these?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the southern client species. That would make sense. The created ones.
Huh?
No, I haven't called that before.
I did my research. I've researched and found what I found in the northern kingdoms of the giants. In the north, in Haldanos, the giants held dominion over the three and one people, as they called them, goblins, hobgoblins, and bugbears. But they broke off from a southern dominion that created people more amenable to serve them.
Suppose that's sensible.
And so you've met them.
Yes, they were lovely.
Yeah.
Most intriguing.
Same as any other folk.
There's lots of them.
I suppose that would be the case, especially if none of the original masters are still around. Well, thank you. That's quite interesting. But no, this was my first clue that there was something here. A lot of the inscription is still intact, and I had to piece it together from others, but this is a fragment of the tale of the theft of the Cirrus Citadel.
If it's in Old Giant, can I read it?
You can. This is a fragmentary text. You get the feeling that he has pieced more of this tale together from other sources. But reading and kind of piecing it together, it seems to talk about a betrayal by someone, doesn't say, someone in a position of power and trust, who seems to have stolen an entire city from the giants, or from the gigantic empire. It sounds like this was, and again, there's not an indication of who, but the type of language used suggests someone of high rank and importance.
Okay. Corzin's going to be consumed with this for a couple of moments.
So, how do you mean theft? Did it belong to somebody else beforehand?
Well, it's hard to say. The giant words for theft, and I suppose in the Jovan tongue you'd say secession, are fairly similar. Contextually, it's hard to say whether this is a case of them declaring independence or literally taking. But one thing was clear to me from context. The rest of giant society was no longer able to access the Citadel of Clouds.
Oh.
It was cut off somehow.
So it would appear that stealing was quite the word. In fact, not just the Citadel, but apparently a series of valleys and part of the mountainside were stolen as part of it.
Wow.
That's quite impressive.
Powerful folk.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, I knew they could carry a lot, but damn.
In fact, here he takes the little key, unlock, and you see unlocks a little lock at the base of the glass dome, pushes it back, and gestures to the tablet. If you'd like to take a If you'd like to inspect it closer, Corzin.
Oh,
it's
my pleasure.
cloudstone. It's quite difficult to damage.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
This is out of character. I'm sorry to fixate on this subject so hard, but I'm obviously quite invested. The time when we were in the void, and it was the whole storyline where our bit of victory's anchor had committed a crime and it had a trial and stuff.
Yes.
That whole thing. There was that room where spirits felt bad, and I can't remember anything about it. Was it any of it stone? Like, what did it look like?
It was part of a giant ruins, wasn't it?
It
Yes,
was.
it
Was it cloudstone?
It was indeed cloudstone.
Yeah, I'm not touching anything.
So you are...
Like, I actually keep, like, a few feet distance, as though, like, you know when you, like, step back and look at an artwork? I don't do that. I don't want to touch anything.
He moves over to the to another one and pulls off the piece of cloth, and you can see what appears to be a cup of silvery metal. You have seen enough at this point that you recognise it as mithril. And you can see engraved upon it are a series of depictions of what appear to be different landscapes, with some with pictures of little depictions of little settlements in them, others of little towers, and you notice in each of these sort of panels there's like a little doorway that's depicted. Again, he takes the key and unclips it, opens up the dome. Feel free to take a look at that. That was my next set of clues. You see, this was not, I believe, originally created by the giants, or at least if the base material was gigantic, it had modifications later.
So who do you think did create it then?
People who wanted to provide clues as to how to get here. You see, it took some searching, but I was able to track down one of these locations just from exhaustive researching, trying to figure out the position of mountains and rivers, some of which had changed over time. But where the little doors are marked on the cup, that each of those led to a little doorway like the one you described in your giant clamshell.
Right.
That's fascinating. I will have a look at the tablet, but I'm not going to actually touch it yet.
You kind of inspect the tablet, glance over at the thing. He kind of takes the little key and reaches under the third veil, and clips it, and pulls off the veil, opening the glass dome. One hand on it. The last item appears to be a sort of small kind of pillar or like a little cylindrical object of cloudstone marked with complex metallic glyphs. And this is one of the this has to be by far the most interesting piece of my collection. Go on. What do you think it does?
Can I read any of the glyphs?
These glyphs appear to be largely sort of the magical variety, but roll an intelligence check.
Okay.
Can I have a look and try and work out what it does as well?
Yes.
I try countering it.
That's a 6.
Nothing legible.
Oh. If I can do Arcana, that's a 25.
25.
I don't think I want to know. I'm going to step back.
You see Celestia step back. This, as you glance at it, and you sort of frown, lean forwards, and peer at it, and your mind makes a connection because it's very, very similar to a pillar you've seen before. In the final resting place of the Mothman, you remember the pillars that kept away spirits?
Yeah,
And this one's inverted. And as you reach that realization, I see you've got it. This is the one that traps spirits. He thumbs a rune, slams the glass shut, and Celestia and Corzin, you feel your souls wrench. And when we pick up, we are all going to roll initiative.
Okay.
But that is something for next time. Thank you all for playing. Thank you all for listening. And farewell from all of us here at Flintlocks and Fireballs. Fair seas and natural 20s. No such thing as society, just people and their families. Think how much more they all could be if I brought out their inner greed.
So gather your muskets, gather your spears, we'll plunder the shores of Calcinea. No kraken, storm or spell we fear, so come and sail with us, my dear.